I started to make a cherry compote today. Compote? Where does that word even come from, compote? Good morning, and welcome to the Willow Rose Cottage kitchen. I know that the spring equinox and Astara are not until later on this month. However, I just could not resist wearing a little headband. So so this is the thing. When my mom was an antique dealer. I'm not sure if I shared all that with you. However, when my mom used to always say, like, I used to always tell her, and everybody did, my dad and everybody, we used to say, you have so much junk. There's not room for any more stuff. And when we would tell her that, she would say, no, I just need a bigger house. The crazy thing is that I'm moving to a tiny house, which is going to be about half the square footage of this house. So, I don't know, that scares me, just saying. And the reason it scares me is I'm going to do like a little cherry, I'm going to make some cherry jam, and then I'm going to make a little dessert. Okay, so I went out into my barn to find my cherry pitter and got overwhelmed and decided I'm not going to be able to find my cherry pitter in this barn in all these boxes. I'm just going to go down to the valley and see if I can find one at a thrift store. So I've come down to Modesto in search of a cherry pitter because I want to make some cherry jam. And I got out everything to make the cherry jam today and realized I couldn't find my cherry pitter anywhere. And I'm not sure if the cherry pitter is actually in the barn packed or if it's crammed into one of my kitchen drawers. So I made the decision to leave. I went to a thrift store, which I did, so that's good. However, now I need to get my pot. Like, I have this amazing red cast iron pot. Like, it's enamel, it's red enamel cast iron pot. And I went to get it and it's gone. I don't know what I did with it. I just do not know what I did with it. I have actually had one trip out to the barn to find it. I haven't been able to find it. I'm gonna take a second trip. If this was my mom, and this happened to my mom, when things went missing, it's so funny how you age, you start really, really identifying with your parents, or whatever. My mom, I identify a lot more with my mom. So whenever she would misplace things because she had too many things, so she shuffled them around a lot, kind of like I'm starting to do. And whenever she would go to get it and it wasn't there, she would say, the damn fairies moved it. Damn it. Wonder what they did with it. Okay, so I outsmarted the fairies. I was able to get my red cast iron enamel pot. I found it. So it's going on the stove. I just washed it. It's a little wet still, but that's fine. So it's going on the stove. So then next is my cherry pitter. So this is the plastic one that I was able to find when I went down to the valley yesterday. Mine, if I can ever find it, is amazing. It's metal. It's ancient, old. It might even be from the 1800s. It's really, really old and really wonderful. However, I could not find it, so this one will have to do in a pinch. That was not intended. Pinch, right? You pinch the cherries to get the pits out. Okay. So let's see how this is going to work. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe I have to take this part off first. It's been a long time since I've pitted a cherry, to be honest with you. One. It's going to be a long journey, so we might want to meet back here later. forgot my coffee. It's super strong and cold. Oh, that's what happens when you forget your coffee. It gets super strong. No, it doesn't get super strong. It's already super strong, but it got cold. Yeah. Espresso shot. Oh. Okay, back to work. I just got spit on by a cherry, so I have to remember to wear a smock or an apron or whatever. Okay, first of all, I think it's important to be said, and I should have said this first of all, but it just happened to occur to me now, so I'm saying it now. I am not a baker, cook, an expert in any way, shape, or form about anything. This isn't a cooking show. This is actually just a life vlog, and so I'm not giving advice. I'm just showing you what I do and how I do it. So the first thing I do is I put the fruit in. So I've just pitted all of these cherries. And I know there's controversy about pectin and all that. I don't use pectin. My great-great-grandmother was American Indian. She wasn't my great-great-grandmother. She was my grandmother. She was really old though. So she taught me how to make jam. And she taught me how to do this. I used to make it with her when I was a little girl. And she would take all the leftover fruit that was starting to go bad or soft, that wasn't like good enough to eat just in general. And she would throw it in a pot like this, and she would throw sugar in with it and some lemon juice. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that's how I've always made it. And I know that a lot of people are like, you need pectin to make it this or that. I don't know, to make it last, I guess, but it lasts. And this is gonna go on a dessert, so it doesn't really even need to last. Like, there might be a tiny bit left over, but I guarantee you I'll eat that before it goes bad. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a regular lemon and I'm going to roll it out a little bit. That feels really good on the palms of my hands, actually. And that just gets the juices going in there. So once I have it all rolled out, and it's kind of soft now, I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty soft now. So now it's ready to cut with my super sharp knives. I just squeezed in. A seed just flew into there. I'm usually good at getting them out before I squeeze them, but I missed that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put, it sweetens it as well. It softens it and sweetens it. So I'm just going to put 1, 2 for now. 2 and some for now. So I have my potato masher, which is going to help me to smash up this fruit. So now I'm just going to put the lid on it, turn it down to low, and let it simmer. I forgot the salt, so I have to put the salt in. So I'm kind of just that kind of a person. How's that? That much? Okay. Let me put the lid back on and we continue cooking. While those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the filling. So typically I take 8 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese and I mix it with a cup of sugar. However, because I decided I wanted extra cream cheese for a different project, cooking is my projects, right? For a different thing I'm making later, I bought 16 ounces. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. So I've already used some out of here for a bagel I made, honestly. So that looks good. So I'm just gonna do about that much. About this much. I'm gonna put in a little bit of vanilla. And sugar. So I'm gonna put in about half a cup of sugar. To be honest, I don't know how much sugar I usually use. I said a cup to 16 ounces, but that seems like a lot now that I'm putting it in there. I would say measure with your heart. So you just want it to be a spreadable consistency. So this is the consistency that you want it because you want to spread it onto your pastries. Okay, so I'm checking on my jam. Let's go ahead and see what's going on in here. Well, it's looking good. So I'm going to smash it some more because I can see that there are some cherries that haven't gotten smashed all the way. So I'll continue to smash and cook and smash and cook and smash and cook and smash and cook and smash and cook. Put that back on and let it go. Ooh, it's getting darker and darker. And as you can see, a lot of the juices are starting to get absorbed. So that's what we want. But we don't want all the juices to get absorbed because some of those juices are going to be the gel. So I think it's time to take it off. So I'll let that cool down for about 10 minutes and then I will put it in the refrigerator to continue gelling. So what I want to do now is I want to take it out of here and put it into the smaller bowl so that I can put the smaller bowl in the refrigerator and it can chill easier and faster. So all that liquid has to turn into gel. So we're gonna hope that happens. So off we go into the refrigerator. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an egg, and these are my neighbor's eggs. Aren't they beautiful? I am just so in love with, oh, look at this little one, the pig egg. He brings me eggs every once in a while, and for a minute there his hens stopped laying, and that was a little bit hard for me because I had to purchase eggs, not because I had to pay exorbitant amounts of money for them, but because they were not these really beautiful fresh eggs from hens that just live a few houses down. I'm going to take one of these beautiful eggs and I'm going to make an egg wash for my desserts. First thing I do is I crack that open and mix it up, and I put a tiny little bit of water in there. I'm not sure if everybody does that, but that's how I learned. So now I have my egg wash. I'm going to set it aside. I use puff pastry, and the reason I buy puff pastry, well, the real reason is I do know how to make it. I've never made it. I never want to make it. This is just one of those things that I think is way, way, way too much trouble to make at home when you could just buy it. And it's pretty inexpensive if you buy it. I mean, I don't know how much this puff pastry cost me, but I guarantee you it wasn't enough. I mean, it wasn't that much. And so I usually make one large one because when I make them for when I have company coming over. So it's a really beautiful presentation. It's kind of a loaf looking. But this is going to be little pieces just for me to eat for snacks when I have like afternoon coffee or tea. It'll just be a little snack for me. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to make these differently than I always have. So bear with me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down the center. And that would be 1, 2, maybe 3. Okay, so then I'm going to do like that. Easy peasy so far. Easy peasy so far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my egg wash. I have my egg wash. I have my cherries. I have my cream cheese, and I have my brush. And I have these. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of the cream cheese. This folds over. I'm kind of thinking this is going to be a bit full. I might have to It's a bit of a disaster. The really good thing is that these are not for company, thank goodness. So I've learned a couple things going along the way if I'm going to make these kind of, I don't know what these are called, like rollovers or popovers, or I don't know. If you know what these are called, let me know. However, I'll say I learned something. Separate them before I start trying to fill them. And the second thing is that these do not take nearly as much filling as the loaf takes, so I don't have to make as much filling. Okay, so I think I'm supposed to pop holes in these. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a few holes in here. And that lets the steam escape out through the hole so it doesn't try to bust through the cracks. I do know that much. So I'm going to take and just brush them with a little bit of egg wash. And I'm going to take a little tiny bit of sugar and just sprinkle sugar on top of them. So now they go in the oven for 25 minutes and then they come out and hopefully we can have tea. Okay, now while those bake, I'm going to make a little drizzle out of powdered sugar. A little tiny bit of powdered sugar. Little bit of vanilla extract. And I don't use milk. I don't buy milk. I use milk. I don't buy milk because it goes, excuse me, because it goes bad before I'm able to use it. So I'm going to just put a little bit of milk in there. Add the tiniest, teeniest, littlest bit of water. Okay, looks pretty perfect. Pretty drizzly, wouldn't you say? Okay. Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. Look at them. Oh my gosh, maybe just a little bit overcooked in a couple of places, but all in all, very beautiful. Get them off of here and onto here. While I'm waiting for them to cool, I'm going to go ahead and put my kettle of water on, and then I'm going to make some tea. So these have cooled enough for me to be able to put the drizzle on without it, well, hopefully without it melting off. We'll see. Is it melting? Maybe I'll wait just a little bit longer. They are warm to the touch, but I thought they were cool enough. Maybe not yet. My water's starting to steam, so it's time to make my tea. Okay, so they're super cool now, so I know it's good. We'll go ahead, we'll start the drizzle on these, and we're gonna have our afternoon tea a little bit late today. It's about 4:30 right now. I was trying to get these done by 3:30. However, It is what it is, right? This is not fast food. This is slow food. You cannot rush this kind of goodness. Have a little here, have a little bit of fun with it, right? That's pretty much it. I'm going to take these and put them on my spring equinox / Astara plate. So let's take it over and have our afternoon tea and delights. So I'm going to take off my apron. It has a little button at the top to keep it from falling off, and then it ties in the back. We go with the apron, and voila! I want to thank you for coming along with me in my little practice run on how to make popovers or turnovers. I'm not even sure what they're called, but how to make my dessert this way as opposed to the loaf. I have a little bit of tea here. I have a little leftover tea, making a little room. I brought some water over with me, and yeah, I'm gonna dig in. So let's see. Keeping with the theme, I brought over my flour napkins. I'm not getting much cherry. To be honest, I'm not getting much cherry flavor. The cherries are everywhere in here, but the cherries themselves are not really popping with flavor. Earl Grey probably is my favorite. We have a little tea house here in Columbia, and it's called Columbia Kate's Tea House. And they also sell tea as well, and I love their lavender cream Earl Grey is amazing. But I don't have any of that right now. I'm going to try this again and see if I can get some cherry flavor. This bite right here has a ton of cherry in it. So if it doesn't taste like cherry, then it has to do with a failure probably on my part. I'm not real sure. I put a full lemon in. I think I put enough sugar in it, definitely enough cherries, so I'm not sure. Some salt, I don't know. I think if I use the cherries for an apple pie, if I use the cherries for an apple pie, it might change things up a bit. If I use the cherries for a fruit pie and put some apples in with it, and maybe some peaches or something. Peaches would be good. Okay, I'm gonna make a peach and cherry pie out of the cherry jam compote I already made, and then we'll see if the peaches brings out the flavors of the cherries in the pie. And I think I'm going to do that for a star for a couple of friends I'm going to invite over to celebrate. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. I've had a lot of fun with you, and I'm always so grateful to have you in my kitchen with me while I'm baking and cooking and learning new things. And I learn so much from you when you make the comments and you tell me what I'm doing wrong or how you've always done it a different way or whatever. So I love your comments. So go ahead, don't feel shy. I want to know what you're thinking, even if you're cringing because I'm doing something really, really wrong and you're just going, ah, go ahead, let me know. Stay whimsical.